You are welcome to TV Sapientia News. My name is Oluchi Ojobamidele. President Bola Tinubu has carried out a major shake-up in the hierarchy of Nigeria's military architecture, replacing General Christopher Musa with General Olufemi Oluyede as the Chief of Defense Staff. Tinubu also appointed Major General W. Shaibu as the new Chief of Army Staff, Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke as Chief of Air Staff, and Rear Admiral I. Abbas as the new Chief of Naval Staff. The change was announced in a statement signed by the Special Advisor to the President, Media and Public Communications, Sunday Dare. He said that the development is in furtherance of the efforts of the federal government of Nigeria to strengthen the national security architecture. Until his appointment as the new CDS, Oluyede served as the Chief of Army Staff and also served as the 56th Commander of the Elite Infantry Corps of the Nigerian Army, based in Jaji, Kaduna. The founder and president of Atiba University, Oyo State, James Ojebode, has condemned the alleged refusal of some federal universities to accept the recently released National Examination Council NECO results from admission seekers. In a statement on Friday, Ojebode described the development as unjust, discriminatory, inconsistent with the country's commitment to inclusive and equitable education. He declared that many candidates who applied for admission using awaiting results were later denied entry after NECO results released. The founder also described the situation as a denial of the fundamental right to education and a reflection of administrative insensitivity. Ojebode urged the Federal Ministry of Education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board and NECO to take immediate action to address the issue. The National Assembly has commenced deliberation on far-reaching constitutional amendments that could see the creation of 55 new states and 278 additional local government areas across the country. Deputy Senate President Senator Barau Jibril stated this yesterday at a two-day joint retreat of the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution in Lagos State. According to a statement by his spokesman Ismail Mudashir, Jibril reaffirmed the legislature's commitment to delivering people-centered and timely amendments to the Constitution. He said members are expected to resolve these issues and make recommendations to both chambers, expressing optimism that progress could be achieved within the two-day session. While stressing the need for patriotism and unity in the review exercise, Barau urged participants to avoid divisive tendencies. 6 members of the National Youth Service Corps have sued the Anambra state government, demanding 1 billion naira in damages over their alleged assault and unlawful detention by operatives of the state vigilante group Agone Chamber. The corps members filed a suit before the Federal High Court in Awka. Recall the viral video in August showing operatives of the vigilante group assaulting the corps members after storming their lodge in which one of the victims, Eloho, was reportedly beaten and stripped naked by the gun-wielding men. The vigilantes allegedly accused the corps members of being internet fraudsters and attacked them despite the attempt to identify themselves with their NYC identity cards. The suit filed through their counsel, Cyrus Onu. The plaintiffs listed the Anambra State government, Governor Chukwuma Soludo, the State Attorney General, and the vigilante group as the first, second, third, and fourth respondents, respectively. They are seeking 1 billion naira in compensation for their mental, physical, financial, emotional, and psychological trauma they allegedly suffered during the assault. They are also seeking an order compelling the respondents to issue a written public apology to be published in at least 2 national newspapers and 1 local newspaper in Anambra State. The federal government has begun steps to repatriate Nigerians currently detained in prisons and migrant camps across Libya, following renewed concerns over the treatment of citizens trapped in the North African country. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimiebi Ebienfa, confirmed that consultations are ongoing to secure the release and safe return of the detainees. He warned Nigerians, especially job seekers, to be cautious of offers from abroad that may lead them into exploitative or illegal migration routes. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency has reaffirmed its role in facilitating the repatriation process. Spokesperson for the agency, Marco Silva, said that the evacuation of stranded Nigerians from Libya is a continuing mission, but one that repatriation alone could not solve the underlying issues, which is the lack of awareness and misinformation that drives many young Nigerians to take these dangerous routes. The Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency has started compensating verified residents of the Oworonshoki community in the Kosofe local government area of the state, whose houses were demolished during recent clearance operations. The compensation exercise, which began on October 23rd, was held at the palace of the traditional ruler of Oworonshoki and was attended by community leaders, representatives of the Lagos State Building Control Agency, and members of civil society groups. Aggrieved residents of Oworonshoki had protested the demolition of houses in the area in September, grounding the third mainland bridge. Speaking with journalists, the Director General of the agency, Oladimeji Animasheun, said some beneficiaries had been identified and compensated between Thursday and Friday. He said the agency have started the payment of compensation on Thursday, and several residents have received their checks, noting that the total number of people being compensated is 80. Animasheun, however, dismissed claims that affected residents were not notified before the demolition, adding that the area had been designated as a regeneration zone more than 5 years ago. He revealed that the government's objective is to transform the area into a well-planned, modern community with improved living standards for residents. We'll take a short break, but the news will return after this break. Stay with us on TV Sapientia News. Welcome back to the news. President Bola Tinubu has described Nigerians' removal from the Financial Action Task Force Watchlist as a strategic victory for the nation's economy and financial governance. The Financial Action Task Force, a global watchdog on money laundering and terrorist financing, announced Nigerians delisting at its October 2025 plenary in Paris, France, yesterday. This followed the country's full implementation of a 19-point action plan aimed at strengthening its anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism framework. In a statement issued by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, Tinubu said the development is not just a technical accomplishment, but a strategic victory for the economy and a renewed vote of confidence in Nigeria's financial governance. Nigeria was placed on the grey list in February 2023 over weak enforcement, poor interagency coordination, and opaque financial practices. The president said his government treated the designation as a call to action rather than a setback, as he directed key agencies to implement sweeping reforms. And now to foreign news. The New York Attorney General, who successfully prosecuted Donald Trump, has pleaded not guilty on Friday to bank fraud charges and accused the president of using the justice system as a tool of revenge. Letitia James, who is 67 years old, one of 3 prominent Trump critics to be hit with criminal charges in recent weeks, entered the not guilty plea at an arraignment in a federal court in Norfolk, Virginia. The presiding judge set December 5 date for the next hearing in the case and a trial date of January 26, 2026. James faces 1 count of bank fraud and a second one of making false statements to a financial institution in connection with a property she purchased in Virginia in 2020. Speaking to a handful of supporters outside court following the brief arraignment, James said the Trump administration is using the justice system as a vehicle of retribution. The case against James was brought this month, 1 day after another Trump foe, former FBI Director James Comey, pleaded not guilty to charges of making false statements to Congress and obstructing a congressional proceeding. Israeli airstrikes has killed 2 people in southern Lebanon on Friday, state media and the Ministry of Health reported, with Israel's military saying it had targeted members of Hezbollah. According to Lebanon's official national news agency, one man was targeted by an Israeli drone with a guided missile while he was driving along the road to the village of Tou, not far from Nabatea. It identified the slain man as Abbas Hassan Kaki. Meanwhile, in a statement, the Israeli army said it struck and eliminated Kaki, calling him the logistics commander of Hezbollah's Southern Front headquarters. The military said Kaki had led efforts to rebuild Hezbollah's combat capabilities following last year's war with Israel, and that he had also been responsible for managing the transfer and storage of weapons in southern Lebanon. The Health Ministry later reported that another Israeli strike targeting a car had killed one person and wounded another, also near Nabatea. Israel has repeatedly bombed Lebanon despite the November 2024 peace talks, which sought to end more than a year of hostilities with Hezbollah that culminated in 2 months of open war. The latest attack comes a day after Israeli strike on southern and eastern Lebanon killed 4 people, including an elderly woman. And from the foreign scene, we'll move to sports, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria started their qualification for the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON in a comfortable style after a 2-0 victory over the Benin Republic in Friday's first leg encounter played in Togo. First half strikes from Chiwendu Ihezuo and Esther Okoronkwo sealed the win for the 9-time African champions, who dictated play from start to finish and rarely looked trouble. The dominance paid off in the 23rd minute when Deborah Abiodun split the Beninese defense with a pinpoint pass to Ihezuo, who made no mistake from close range to hand Nigeria a deserved lead. The result now leaves the Super Falcons firmly in charge of their tie ahead of Tuesday's return leg in Abeokuta at MKO Abiola Sports Complex, where they would look to complete the job and book their tickets to WAFCON 2026. Still on sports, Fulham boss Marco Silva has named the most agile, strongest and quickest centre-back at the club. According to him, Nigerian international Kevin Bassey is the club's most agile and quickest centre-back. Silva said this ahead of Fulham's Premier League trip to Newcastle United this weekend. Bassey played only 8 minutes in Fulham's last Premier League game, a 1-0 defeat to Arsenal at Craven Cottage, due to fitness issues after representing the Super Eagles during the international break. Speaking to the press ahead of their trip to St. James Park, Silva praised Bassey for his consistency and strength. He said the Nigerian international offers qualities that set him apart from the other centre-backs at the club. Bassey had played from the beginning of the end to the end in every Fulham game this season before the match against Arsenal. And to wrap it up on the news, a reminder of our headlines. President Bola Tinubu has carried out a major shake-up in the hierarchy of Nigeria's military architecture, replacing General Christopher Musa with General Olufemi Oluyede as the Chief of Defense Staff. The New York Attorney General, who successfully prosecuted Donald Trump, has pleaded not guilty on Friday to bank fraud charges and accused the president of using the justice system as a tool of revenge. The Super Falcons of Nigeria started their qualification for the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations in comfortable style after a 2-0 victory over the Benin Republic in Friday's first leg. And that was the TV Sapientia news. On behalf of the technical and the editorial crew, my name is Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. Thank you for being here with us on TV Sapientia.